Okay, Islam. Um, I'm addressing this video. Islam run Arrington-Bey. It is May the 12th, 2024. And Imani Gray Bay is in the room with me. I am at formerly Extended Stay America, now Admiral Suites. And I'm addressing this video, excuse me, to the spirit of Prophet Noah Ali, to the man I obligated in the sacred mental growth, Sheikh Dwayne by Bay. Obligation means in the sacred mental growth that you have bonded in a manner that is sacred and usually is witnessed by other Moors or that of the same tribe that can contest that this obligation has happened. And I'm also addressing Mr. Elon Musk, or I say Elon now a lot of times. And this is a video about spiritual, the mental plane, which is connected to the spiritual plane, the physical plane, and um, how I'm going to use the word weave, how the mental plane, spiritual plane, and many other planes that exist, if that is spoke of in the Kabbalion. Also, I connect the Holy Cross Circle 7 with these different aspects of the planes that exist mentally in different um, sacred departments of the mind, of my mind, and others. And this is another book, but these aren't the only books. Okay? In this book, it speaks of other planes as well. So, I might have to get up in between time to use the restroom. And I am among unclean spirits here in Annapolis, Maryland, that force, engage, and plot thoughts to demonstrate how unclean, filthy, and unnatural these spirits are, and how they know about reincarnation. They are definitely aware of reincarnation and the importance of trapping, if they can, imprisoning or placing a clean divine spirit or a spirit that has fallen in a manner where in the reincarnation process they may not be able to ascend the way they hoped. These unclean, unnatural, abomination spirits are well aware, because even right now I am forced engaged. So before I finish that thought, of an unclean spirit, black Negro, African American male, many of them stalk the room. They use a form of teleportation through the telepathic code that they have. And the black Negro, African American female, that's unclean and unclean, filthy in spirit. And within that code, and using different forms of teleportation within that code, they are they are full or a cesspool of filthy, extremely unclean spirits. So the goal is for them, not just them that's in the bodies of African American black Negroes that keep saying brother, I paid, the black Negro female that's full of demonic spirits, females, not just one. Within that code, many of them are linked together all over, not just in Annapolis, all over. And they are linked together through a demonic spirit, a filthy, unclean spirit. um, either saying that they're paid, getting back to that thought, or I love your son. A black Negro abomination female spirit stalking Imani that's full of filthy, unclean, demonic spirits. So, not just them, but then there's also the Spanish speaking from South Central America and Mexico. And it's very interesting. Prophet Noble Ali, the spirit of Prophet Noble Ali, Sheikh Dwayne Bafilbe, whom I obligated in the spirits of truth in the sacred mental grove, and Mr. Elon Musk or Elon. Okay, it's very interesting because the um, South Central Americans and Mexicans, um, within my lifespan or my time frame, this lifetime, I didn't know much about them until I mean Mexico. Yes, I knew because of them migrating to Georgia. Because where I live, there weren't hardly any except for a few Mexican restaurants. Like, so where I lived, if there was a Mexican restaurant, usually it looked like it was very, very nice. Okay, very nice Mexican restaurant because where I lived in Georgia when I was raised, um, it was very suburban, and there were million dollar homes there. So, um, and that was through time seeing Mexican restaurants. I don't remember seeing them. Not saying that they didn't exist, but where I don't remember seeing them, and I definitely didn't go to school with them, except for I remember the first when I was in middle school. I remember some Mexicans were they came to they were children. I was in middle school, so I think they were in eighth grade, and the teachers were going around showing them around and saying that they didn't speak English very well. So what I'm demonstrating is how that the Mexican body that's full of unclean, filthy, abomination spirits, and those that are from South Central America, whether they're from El Salvador, Honduras, um, Brazil, other parts of the continent of South America, um, but their bodies are full of unclean spirits. Not all blacks, but definitely on a spiritual level, speaking on a spiritual aspect. All three of you, I think, know what I'm talking about. And I'm thankful and grateful and humility to be able to speak in this manner. Spirit of Noble Ali. Okay. So to be among them on my life path, my journey of spirituality, and seeing the bodies of them and how filthy and unclean the demonic spirits that coincide of them is really it is a gift of knowledge. Okay. So, what I just spoke of is truth, and I'm going to keep trying to demonstrate truth as much as possible. Okay. I have to use the restroom. I might have to get up a few times to use the restroom, but I have to use the restroom. I've been drinking lots of water. Oh, I drink lots of fluids. One moment. Imani is sleeping. Okay, so it's just me here talking. Um, so getting back, to see the spirits that are in the bodies of Mexicans, South Central Americans, and or they could be from India or or from the place they call China or North Korea or is it North Korea? Um, excuse me, South Korea. I think it's Koreans and other um, bodies. Um, definitely pale skinned, definitely pale skins too. Many filthy, unclean spirits I've seen in the pale skin, and all the connection I've come across is interesting because of the telepathic code and how the demonic spirits in them um, is definitely infused and linked through the telepathic code, which Imani Gray Bay and Arrington-Bey reject. We don't want it. And I've been saying this for years when I realized that one exists, that the science of telepathy was not um, for a few. I realized, and I'm not accusing anyone Pacific, but I realized mostly here, and the odd experiences that I experienced here in Annapolis, Maryland, with the United States Navy, Army, and other military branches here, and the odd experiences with the police. So, to demonstrate on the demonstrate the truth of spirit and spirituality and the spiritual plane, mental plane is really, really important. And weaving, I'm going to use the word weaving all it together that manifests on the physical plane. Because this is what has been done for years. I'm 50 years old, and um, this aspect or this science of weaving and using the mental science or the science of mentalism, telepathy, using unclean spirits have been going on for, I would say, more longer than 200 years, longer than 300 years, using them and that which is unclean, collaborating with them to control masses of people mentally, spiritually, and physically. So let me back up a little bit and make sure I'm able to articulate everything I needed to articulate because I'm free. I didn't write anything down. I decided to do this video because for a very, very long time, I couldn't even speak the word spirit. Through the years after my consciousness change around 2010 and 2011. I could not speak the, I wouldn't say I couldn't, but I felt uneasy, dis-ease in speaking the word about unclean spirits or spirit. And when my consciousness changed through a woman who looked like me, awakening me in a dream, and she didn't speak a word, but she was as serious, very serious. Never, I mean, her eyes, the expression never changed. So I'm going to demonstrate. I've demonstrated this before. I'm going to demonstrate it again. Okay. Okay. So me looking at her, when she started to move her hands back and forth, I followed her hands. And then I looked up when she threw her hands in the air and a black dot came down and hit me here. And I took a deep breath in my dream that I thought I was in. And it was so strong. My children were around me, Arrington-Bey, Arrington-Bey, were around me in around 2010, 2011. I'm leaving that because it's been a while since I've documented it. Um, and they were like shaking me to get up, and I could not. I said I'm okay. You know, I leave room that I might have peeped my eye open when they were shaking me, but I said I'm okay, and I just sort of just went back into the dream and saw white fumes all around me. This was the change of my life, my journey. This was the change in who I am truly, as in a awakening of my divine highest self. Because not saying that my lower self was not still there, but it was not as strong as my divine highest self. I was very remorseful, and I'm not going to go through this story again, but for the things I have did in the past in this lifetime that was not of my divine highest self. And I wanted to live in a more moral manner. And I started to seek out what freedom meant for me, and definitely spirituality was very important. This attraction led me to Moors because I am a Moor, but I didn't know I was a Moor. So the spirit of truth was in me. The spirits of freedom, compassion was very strong, in empathy. My light was shining all around me, but I didn't know what I was among. I think my light has always shined because unclean spirits, demonic spirits that the United States government and other governments all around planet Earth have used could see the lights. They could see the lights, and they could see the innocence. As soon as the light comes through the birth canal, there are unclean spirits watching, predators, for the lights to flow to come through the birth canal, not knowing where they're at, all around planet Earth. But when my thoughts are, when we forget how to come through that cosmic hole or wormhole or that cosmic tunnel to get us to the plane of manifest, the physical plane, we somehow disconnected memory of what we are among. And these spirits that are unclean, very demonic and unclean, filthy beasts and animals who are knowledgeable of reincarnation and jurisdiction, spiritual jurisdiction. They wait. They're predators. It's so when you have parents who don't know and have this who are disconnected from spirituality, and grandparents and they only have like little teaspoons, bits and pieces here and there, and grandparents and great grandparents maybe further back is a little more, but somehow is there's a disconnect. That is just a signal for unclean, unnatural, abomination spirits to pray. So they start their implementation of trapping um, beings that have the potential divine celestial beings or just human beings. I just want to say human beings. It doesn't make a human being less. I consider myself a celestial being with a human soul because I am grasping the truth that I am more than what I know about myself. And I'm learning. I am grasping the spirits of truth that there is no coincidence and it's not a mistake that I do not have the telepathic code. And we are in a time when many have the telepathic code. I am embracing the spirits of truth that Imani Gray Bay does not have the telepathic code, but he is among many that do. So I know there is no such thing as coincidence or a mistake. And I am on this journey, spiritual first, for a reason beyond thoughts on the present consciousness. But I know I'm just not right now, or through moments and moments, maybe not able to articulate, but I already know. Just by me saying the word celestial is a part of me, and those that are like me, divine beings that are like me, letting me know who I am. And I'm not the only one. So getting back to being among unclean spirits who have been used for more than 200 years, more than 300, more than 400 years. They've been used for a very long time by governments to and all over the planet to entrap, limit, put mental possess, inflict disease, sickness for a long, 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 long time. So, as I speak now, I'm experiencing a rush of different thoughts because I am among unclean, unnatural spirits. One of the characteristics I've learned, spirit of Noble Jew Ali, Sheikh Dwayne Baflabe, whom in spirits of truth I obligated in a sacred manner in the spirit, in the mental growth that I have never done before with anyone willingly. And Mr. Elon Musk, Elon, many thoughts. One of the characteristics that I'm experiencing, one of the characteristics of these demonic, unclean, filthy spirits is ego. They're very egotistic. All the unclean behavior that you can think of these demonic spirits indulge in: ego, arrogance, sex. The first war tactic they use upon clean divine spirits or energies or beings, whether it's a human being or celestial being that's in the body of a pale skin. I say pale skin because, okay, say they could be from the Netherlands. Okay, I won't say or pale. When I say pale skin, I'm used to saying that because I'm used to being among here, those pale skins on this landmass who have not claimed a nationality. They rather say white, which now those that have a spiritual eye can see just by that time is up. The word white is not enough to protect them and keep them out of the jurisdiction, which is spiritual first, with and trap them in that jurisdiction, which is spiritual first, with the unclean, filthy beast spirits. It's not enough to say you're white. You have to be in that organic instrument and implement those organic laws of the Constitution that was created for these days and these times. Naturalized truly under laws of freedom. So those that have the spiritual eye, that are pale skinned, and that can see and still have their own thoughts, maybe they will hear. To say you're white is not enough anymore. That time is gone and it's over. You have to implement that spirit of freedom through what was created for these days and times. This is the connection to the corruption of the Constitution and all the craziness of the immigrants coming over here, and that which representing a form of a government with the United States corporation using a form of the Constitution that's not the true Constitution. It's in their jurisdiction. They are corrupted to change it so that they can maneuver it and switch it and do whatever they want, not abiding by any of the original laws, because they are demonic spirits in them controlling them. So when I say that these unclean, unnatural, abomination spirits' goal is to trap as many as possible in a jurisdiction with with beast animals. And when I say beast animals, I'm saying mentally and physically, because they are definitely implementing genetic manipulation. This is why they say Birdman here in Annapolis with the military here. While the people run around implementing the word werewolf as though not predominantly has been Mexican or from South Central America, but there's blacks and pale skins as well that demonstrate that they're in that set. Witches, warlocks, vampires. Now, when I say vampires, that is the connection to the TV in an unclean manner. And I have to say it. It's the truth. It is the truth. So gene manipulation is real. It really is. So the trapping of spirits is not just the melanated. You have Europeans, all that are blonde hair, blue eyes, brown hair, brown eyes. Some are pale skinned Europeans, or pale skin, or have at least on the body, it looks like they're very, very light. They're it doesn't look like they have much melanin. You have some Europeans, or those that look to be from a region where less sun, um, that have a little more melanin, a little darker, with darker hair. So, but yet they are able to articulate their thoughts, and they are implementing a form of high thought and a form of their divine highest self. So, what that has shown me is that this this is just like it's global unclean spirits, demonic spirits, that governments have used over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years to inflict sickness, mental disease, chaos, and wars. There globally, there are people, or beings, human beings, maybe those that are paler than I am, consider themselves celestial, that are also in the spirit of truth, and they are keeping themselves out of that jurisdiction and implementing their divine higher self. Spirit of Noble Juali, I think it is amazing or interesting. Hold on one moment. I'm getting a force engaged by an unclean spirit, possibly. How during this time here in Annapolis, I have been at um, I have been um, knowledge, or I have been connected with bodies, beings. When I say beings, I'm saying beings that don't necessarily look like a Moor, but they are demonstrating truth. They are demonstrating natural law, and they are demonstrating a high frequency of natural law. And yes, I've seen Moors as well, and others from the continent of Africa and South America. So, just got to make sure I remember there's some from South America, and um, the Europe, Australia, China, Japan, the islands. Okay. Spirit of Noble Jolie, to see through the demonic chaos of unclean, filthy spirits that has waged war for hundreds of years upon the inhabitants on planet Earth, continue to do what they're doing and has increased it to a point of a technology that to many it's like this beast is so big we will never win. But to see pockets of life fighting back all over planet Earth, the globe, fighting back, that's divinity, that's natural law, and that's truth. Hold on. So, during this journey in this time here in Annapolis, I've been favored to see these pockets of life all around the globe from different countries, different backgrounds, but there is a common thread of the spirit of freedom that they are exuding freedom, which is connected to natural, divine, and cosmic laws. Okay, so I'm going to go back sometime. What I find very interesting, um, Spirit of Noble Jolie, is since I've been here in Annapolis, of the spirits of truth, I have been trying my best to harmonize with as much as possible. And by me embracing her with humility as much as possible. Because in the Holy Crown Circle 7, it gave us a warning in the chapter about Spirit of Truth, about humility. And when we approach her manfully. And so I have been approaching her manfully. M, capital A, and capital N. And in that, the demonic spirits that are unclean and have been predators for a very, very long time started to reveal themselves in the open. because it's time. Because the spirit of truth, it with many other divine energies, are controlling them. And it is time. I was going to say many other divine energies because I like to try to keep one clean side, one unclean side. It's time. So I remember as a child, and I'm going to give you an example what I mean by these demonic, filthy, unclean abomination spirits revealing themselves, and how the goal is using many forms of emotions to download, whether which usually it comes from some form of connection with the TV, the satellite. The TV is definitely a portal for unclean spirits to engage. Where there's a home with a TV in it, that was a portal for unclean spirits to engage. Wherever, wherever that TV was, even the radio, these unclean spirits were able to engage, and we did not know it. So as a child, I remember, and getting back, so emotions, downloading of emotions, thoughts, download of thoughts through force engaging the body, the sheath. Okay, I'm going to try to, not try to, I'm going to articulate one thought at a time, but I need to demonstrate. So what unclean spirits, one of their war tactics is to force engage the sheaths, the different sheaths of the body, or the auric fields of the body, so that they can download or send a sexual feeling or a feeling of happiness or sadness, dis-ease, depression. If it's a sick, unclean, demonic spirit, then it's definitely going to attack the immune system, especially if you are not eating according to the chemistry of your body. And so if you're not eating, or many obviously aren't, not saying, I can't say who is not, who is, maybe they are, maybe they're not, I'm not sure, but I know for me I was not. Then I developed parasites that are being completely cleansed out now, and worms. And so with these intelligent filthy parasites and worms that are not just in, was in me, I'm gonna say was, because I'm, if any is still existing, they are they're being released now, they are leaving now, because this is not their home. My body, my mind, my sacred temple is not their home. But these intelligent unclean parasites and worms have made other bodies their home, and they're very intelligent. They send off signals, chemistry, frequencies, just like the unclean spirits that force mental engage. Allah forbid this continues to happen, but I'm demonstrating. Force mental engage the body, and then release a signal or energy, a frequency of happiness, sadness, depression, hunger. I mean, all of a sudden I would just feel hungry for no reason. I'll get hungry, or I start craving something that I'm trying not to eat. Or I feel a sexual feeling around my genitals. So parasites and worms, they feed off the body, blood, They feed off blood, making the body their home, sending off signals. Excuse me. Something's forcing me to cough now. Excuse me. Sending off signals and frequency. The frequency is coming in from inside the body. And the frequency is the connection to laws of attraction. And they're feeding off the blood in the body. So if you're not eating according to the chemistry of your body, and these parasites know you're not, and they keep sending a frequency to encourage this, not only that which is unclean, filthy, and demonic in spirit, force mentally engage the body, because they feel the frequency. They are communicating. It's a communication between the unclean, filthy spirits, the parasites and worms that's inside the body, with the unclean, filthy, abominations spirits outside the body. This is the manifestation. So I'm going to demonstrate how me harmonizing with the spirit of truth as much as possible in humility, manfully, these demonic spirits started to reveal themselves. As a child spirit of Noble Jew Ali, I remember playing mommy and daddy with my cousins all the time. My mother would buy, mommy and dad, we never penetrated ourselves or like tuck off our clothes, but we would do what they call humping, or just really humping, a lot of humping. And I remember even being at school and the boys would come by and try to hump us from behind. I mean, I was young. I had to be like 7, 8 years old, 6 years old. I'll be at school and this was happening. And then my mother was buying these Barbie dolls, and my aunts or whoever brought Barbie dolls, and I would make them have sex and hump. Where did these thoughts come from? I never seen my dad have sex with my mom. I never seen my mother have sex with my dad. And my dad and my mom didn't let me watch movies where they were having sex. That I remember. I remember it was like, always close your eyes or leave. You can't watch this. But I would feel this sensation in my genitals when I was like, I had to be like 6, maybe even 5, 6, 7, 8 years old to do these things. Where was this coming from? At school, among children I don't know, or I mean, just playing on a playground, or they'll come by and want to touch my vagina or touch other. It wasn't just me. It was like a almost like a cultural thing of children to do this, or touch the butt. And the girls would girls be running from the boys, playing what they call hide and go seek, so they can get you and hump you. It wasn't just in North Carolina, but what I'm getting at, where did this come from? Where did it come from? It was the unclean spirits that had been leashed out through the portal of the TV, using different, because they can tune in through the TV then as well, and just overall that has existed. Force engaging with children, with me, with many children. doing these things because they knew that the parents were disconnected in the knowledge, in the awareness of them existing. There was a disconnect of awareness and knowledge of the unclean, filthy spirit, spirituality, what of them existing and what they are truly capable of. People were being pushed towards, still like today, even with those with the telepathic code, pushed towards religion without full comprehension of spirituality. You can talk about spirituality a little bit. I'm using an example. With as long as you choose a religion, you going to church, you going to the mosque, you going to a place where they practice Buddhism, you going to the cathedral. As long as you have someone you're following to guide you, so that you don't get too, so you don't really truly get to know and learn who you are as a divine spirit on your own. And then if you start to experience a dis-ease or mishap or infliction, that's because when was the last time you've been to the cathedral? When was the last time you've been been to the mosque? Is that, see, you have you paid your tithes? You're not paying your tithes. Why are you not paying your tithes? You didn't give no money to God. Get back and you'll be okay. And it's interesting because getting back to the original thought. So as children, I remember experiencing my genitals having these feelings. I didn't, it's like as a child, I should say. I was like, I didn't think anything. I was a child, I was just doing things like that with the making the Ken and Barbie hump, mom and daddy. It was the same unclean spirits, demonic spirits that was using sex as a weapon that existed then, that exists now here in Annapolis and many other places globally. Sex and the indulgement of sex, it has been I would say, one of the most dangerous warfare or war tactic against inhabitants on planet Earth. Sex. And I'm going to connect how even just the Spirit of Truth in Annapolis demonstrating what has been going on globally. Sex. Demonic spirits, filthy, unclean demonic spirits using sex. That was Imani going to go use the restroom. Maybe so that was as a child I was experiencing this. Once again, no penetration, just humping, not even really kissing. I don't remember ever kissing anyone, but just humping, making Ken and Barbie hump, run away from the boys as they try to pat my vagina or my butt. All of us, many. It was like I mean, if I go to another school, another area, The boys would do the exact same thing. The girls would do the exact same thing, like it was some type of fun game. You see, and so not you see, but and so this thought process was obviously being implemented and all over as a common thread. But the common one as a common thread is many had TVs, radios in their homes. Many. And many were not speaking on a level of spirituality that spiritualists are speaking on this day and time. A few months ago, finishing that thought, I experienced a black Negro, African American body, and it was a male. Like many of them that are unclean and unnatural in spirits, because I'm in the spirit of truth. So the spirit of truth does not just affect that which is righteous or trying to demonstrate righteousness. The spirit of truth controls the demonic, filthy spirits too. They can't stop. They can't stop. They can't stop themselves from talking. They can't stop themselves from being controlled by that energy field, because the spirit of truth, which is natural, divine, and cosmic laws. It has always is. It has always been, is, was, and has always been here. So the filthy, unclean, demonic spirits, they can't stop themselves. They're not stupid. They're very clever, but they have no control once we learn how to implement and tap into that energy field of natural, divine, and cosmic laws. And we remove and continue to remove that spirit of fear. So the demonic spirit that was in this black Negro, the body, sent me a thought of what I was experiencing, and it was using ego. So it was saying it was us that was doing that to you as a child. It was us. See, we always been doing it. We trying to show it has some form of possession over me because it did that to me as a child. So if it can show to them and plant thoughts that this is truth, that this is the true way of life, that the act of it causing my genitals to feel a feeling, to cause me to want to hump or any children, and demonstrate the time frame. This is what it was trying to, this is the thoughts it was plotting of how long it's been among my lifespan around me. It was saying it with ego. This unclean, filthy, infected abomination spirit that was in the body of a black Negro. Then it feels like it has more control or more justification to say, I paid for you. And this is truth. And I saw the black Negro male looking at me as I experienced this thought. And I gotta remember to use infected. These unclean spirits are not clean. There's a reason why the African American community, last time I checked, and those that speak Spanish from South Central America and Mexico, and now the pale skin, I'm pretty sure it's right along with it, has such a high rate of viruses that is connected to some form of sexual intercourse. There's a reason. It is because of them. Before it was always the African American Black Negro community, always very very high, with herpes, warts, many different forms of sexual transmitted diseases. Having children with no with the parents not with both parents not being in the home, many children without both parents being at home, women raising children by themselves. It's because of these unclean abomination spirits. That which speaks Spanish, it was always that which speaks Spanish and the black Negroes. The community have the most highest rate of diseases or of form of disease or viruses that are transmitted through sex. But now, Spirit told me the pale skin is the same way through that telepathic code. They are out of control as well because of this unclean, filthy, abomination spirits controlling them in ways they had no idea through that telepathic code, transforming them where they forgot or don't have their own thoughts to say what's wrong with me, can I, or too afraid to, especially with AI, humanoid robots who have the code that are able to control how humans get food from the grocery store, how they get money from banks, how they live their day-to-day life. They're able to engage with other, if you have children, other children and teachers, to make your child's life hard while they're trying to go to school, especially if you're not able to afford private school or you cannot homeschool. So these unclean spirits, this is the increase of war tactics that they have done since 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. I'm going to, they had, so they knew these days were coming where that there was going to be a signal to let them know that their time is up and their time is ending. They knew that the day that horn, as you want to say, I see some movies have a horn. They knew that horn was going to blow. It's going to blow loud. And that horn was a horn to say, your time is up and your time is ending. Your jurisdiction is decreasing, 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 where it won't exist ever again. So, connecting, this is the connection to the sickness and so forth. So in the spirit of truth. So this happened with the black Negro as I experienced the thought of truth because the truth was controlling him. He as a demonic spirit is thinking with ego. I'm gonna demonstrate how I have the right to say I paid for this more, this celestial being. And this more needs to stay. They keep saying stay as though I'm with them. That's why I was so odd when I heard it was so odd to hear T-Mobile reps. The T-Mobile rep was like, "We want you to stay." I was like, "You want me to stay?" I didn't, I just sort of just brushed it off because it was hours on the phone with her, and I was like, Why did she say that? It's just like when she said these are human beings here working at T-Mobile, not like Verizon and other places you would be on the line forever, you would never get through. These are human beings. She was giving me all this information about human beings and robots. I didn't ask her if she was a human being or a robot. I wasn't inquiring about that. But she felt the need to tell me. So anyway, moving forward. So nonetheless, so ego, like I said, that these demonic spirits use in arrogance. They're very clever, very clever. And they know that the spirits of truth is the is the frequency that planet Earth and the cosmos vibrate on naturally. That they are a de facto energy that must be completely destroyed. They know this. So, but they can use trickery to trick a person in thinking something else. So that's what the spirit was doing, demonstrating how long it's been around or among me and others like me, and the power it has had over sex in my life. The spirits of truth. I should stop the video, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna stop this video. I'm gonna keep going, and if you have time to watch, um, I know the spirit know what you all leave will, but Mr. Elon Musk or and Sheikh Dwayne Baffabe, whom I spiritually obligated in the ethers, where the ethers vibrate on a high frequency, in the sacred mental growth, with a clean, pure heart, not knowing what I was among, not knowing what I know now, but I did, and he did too. Um, Another example of the spirit of truth controlling them. And this is when predominantly I've noticed when those that seem to imply to be connected to the United States Navy, black males again. Okay, not saying that those that speak Spanish from South Central America are not around, make it, because they're very prevalent. Mexico, that bodies with they're a cesspool of filthy demonic spirits, pale skin as well. Saying three Mason, but this is what was in front of my physical eyesight as I experienced this plotted thought, force engaged thought about my mom, and about how the demonic spirits, unclean spirits, they abused her mind, mental possessed her, and killed, and they raped her, and then they murdered her. They were the ones that did it. And so, because my mom, um, she left around when I was 9. So no, when I was about 10. I was going 10 or 11 years old, and they couldn't find her. They never found her body. Ever found her body. I got a call from the investigator stating that um, they found the remains. This was in Durham, North Carolina. They found her remains. I was born in Durham, North Carolina, and it was her. My grandfather cremated her. I don't know why he did it, but he cremated the remains. I don't know why he cremated her. I was too young to say don't. And so I think if he would have kept the remains, they could have did some more science upon the remains to see exactly what happened. But nonetheless, they said, so the unclean spirit at the time was a black Negro, and unclean demonic spirit was in a black Negro that was representing or implied to represent the Navy, the United States military Navy. And all of a sudden, and it was looking towards my way, and all of a sudden I was experiencing these thoughts about my mom and visuals of her being raped. and thoughts about what she experienced when she was in the mental institution, and thoughts about how they're going to put me in a mental institution and how they're going to rape me like they raped my mom. Excuse me. They're going to rape and do and murder me, kill me like they raped, mental possessed, and murdered my mom. This is how demonic spirits communicate. Unclean, filthy abomination spirits that have been around and been used by governments all over the planet for hundreds of years. The spirit, so once again, it knows it's in that natural law controls them. Once we are aware as conscious celestial beings and we start to implement that energy of freedom, of truth, of justice. They know, but they're very smart and clever. I mean, not smart enough where they would say, let me stop. It's their nature to do these things. And they know that horn has been blown and their time is ending. So once again, it used sex. It made sure it showed a vision or a visual of or it seemed like looked like my mother being raped, or a time where I could have saw something that I should not have seen as a child, and kept plotting the thought and saying, we're going to do the same thing to you. Once again, using sex. And then murder. And so in that situation, it was definitely to plot the spirit of fear, and then continue to hear the frequency in this room saying, brother paid. We paid for you. Hear black female frequency saying, Rhonda, he paid. He paid. Spanish speaking accent saying amigo, or frequency saying amigo, we paid. Who is we? These are a cesspool of demonic spirits, a cesspool of filthy, unclean demonic spirits. We paid. That's what they. So anyway, That's what they keep saying. So now, right now, I'm being forced to engage to even say that again. We paid. Because in the spirit of freedom, grasping and implementing spiritual or natural, divine, and cosmic laws, spirituality, they who did it, they don't pay you. Who did they pay? They didn't pay no one. They are here in that nature of filth, of unclean demonic spirits, to wage war upon that of clean, divine, and natural law. So that is now I just felt itching around my nose. That was unnatural. Okay, so that is the connection to the implementation of the word paid. It doesn't exist in the spirit of truth, in the spirit of freedom, in the spirit of justice. So another planet thought that I experienced here by filthy, unclean spirits, connecting sex. When my son Abbas Malik Bey came here to visit, because he left me at 14 years old to go live with his father in New York. So they knew what Abbas was experiencing about his mind. And they knew, just like my mother, that Abbas, that the doctors, the hospitals who know that we are among unclean spirits and who have benefited from using them or allowing them to make many people sick mentally, physically, because they made so much blood money through blood sacrifice of the inhabitants on this landmass. These are the corrupt hospitals being controlled and by corrupt banks. They knew, the doctors knew. So these demonic spirits already know that my mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia. They already have the book of the medical. They many of the unclean spirits are inhabiting doctors, nurses, um, people that are educated in psychology, have a degree in psychology, sociology, and so forth. Many of them, okay. Many unclean spirits inhabit bodies and do such things. Like many of the doctors, like for example, when the COVID-19 um, situation happened, um, the pandemics, and where people were being encouraged to be vaccinated, it was many doctors encouraging um, them to be vaccinated. Many, a large amount of people going to get vaccinated because they wanted. Some of them did it for many reasons. Some of them did it because they needed to work. Some of them did it because and they felt like they had no choice. Some of them did it because they actually thought if the doctors were going to tell them the truth. Unclean spirits, demonic spirits, are able. They're very clever. They use emotions. I mean, if an unclean spirit is in a body of a doctor who knows psychology and sociology, it knows how to manipulate crowds of people. And now here in 2024, all this information is coming out about the vaccines that was injected in masses of people all over planet Earth, all over the globe. Like the unclean demonic spirits by the governments have been used for hundreds of years all over the globe, planet Earth. So when Abbas was here, they knew that my mother had already had through the medical diagnosis had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. That's why they had her institutionalized. They knew this with me. I mean, with me being here. So, unclean demonic spirits. It wasn't the research wasn't hard for them to do, and especially if they already are educated, like many of the United States military, Navy, Army, other military branches, the police are educated in psychology and sociology. It doesn't take much for them to do different types of psychological programs to try to trigger a response that can cause me to demonstrate a behavior that is similar to schizophrenia. Because that's what my mother was diagnosed. That's what a bass was. Oh, never mind. I don't know for sure. Wait a minute. I'm not going to say that. But that's what my mother was diagnosed with. And then my Abbas he said he's healing, or he has a way of maintaining. I'm going to leave it at that. But this is not just with my line. This has happened globally. So when they already knew, when they saw me here, they already knew how they can go about um, doing certain behaviors, certain mental thoughts, so forth, to get me to behave in a manner that could be considered in a matter of mental um, dis-ease, or not lawful. Because the next step is to try to sue. Okay? Which brings about what? Mental disease. The goal is mental and spirit possession. So if the mental possession or the forced engagements by these unclean, filthy, abomination spirits are not working the way that they want, then they start to demonstrate more cleverness and how clever they are, how they know in their jurisdiction the different forms of the book laws that they can use to try to get that which they are attacking and play and have waged war upon in a manner where where they can be I guess you want to say subjugated, and they can actually dive in, or not dive in, but invade the mind and different aspects of the mind, the Akashic records, and do what they please, for that is the goal in the first place. And then trap the body, the spirit, trap it in a jurisdiction, imprison it in their filthy, unclean, unnatural jurisdiction, so that the reincarnation process that exists and that we are known to do will not happen the way it's supposed to. They're ritualistic. They know what they're doing. Hold on. Excuse me. So once again, the replaying of what Abbas experienced at a young age through thoughts was being done constantly, which at first I cried many tears, not just for him, but connecting the dots with many other things that I experienced. Knowing that what I'm among now, this is when the Spirit of Truth was really showing me, really controlling them and showing me all that they have done. Okay? Number so really, so they're once again in their thought process, they're like arrogant, and they trying to figure out how to maneuver the energy, the thoughts, the manipulation, so that it could seem as though they have the right to do what they were doing. These are demonic spirits outside of natural law. And I think as clean divine spirits, if you remember that, or clean spirits or spirits, when I say clean, you might be in a process, it's not saying that you're perfect, but you are in a process of raising your frequency, your thoughts. You are healing. We are healing. I am in the process of raising my frequency, my thoughts, my divinity. And I've been favored to see the power, the strength, I'm going to use the thought, the power, the strength of natural, divine, and cosmic laws. These unclean, filthy, abomination spirits know. They know all this. There's nothing I'm saying that they don't already know about natural law. They're very clever. So, replicating thoughts, the inner voice, all that is an attempt, because this is what I've experienced too. Imani experiencing things too, but he still doesn't know. He's learning. He still doesn't know, but he is definitely learning. It's it's an attack, a war tactic to get inside the mind so that they can have the body, so they can have the mind and keep that spirit, that celestial being, that energy, that frequency low in their filthy, demonic, unclean spiritual jurisdiction. So I experienced thoughts of what Abbas experienced when he was 14, 15, 16 years old, not being with me. And I cried many tears here in Annapolis. Many tears. It was very, it was a, it was definitely a challenge for me to move forward so that I cannot and see that the fight I'm in may not seem that the fight of freedom I am in is to honor freedom of all aspects of who I am, of my being. Actual freedom is to honor my mom, honor my father, honor Abbas, honor my grandmother, honor my great grandmothers or mothers, honor my great grandfathers, honor my uncles, my cousins, my sister, my nieces, my nephews, and many connections that I don't even know, but just globally honor for those that didn't know and didn't have a chance. They didn't know and they didn't have a chance, or they were tricked. So they say, not they say, I know that one of the major challenges I've had is to know that the spirits of Allah, or I like to say spirits of Allah, or the triunes of Allah, which I give the triunes of Allah a very sacred feminine energy, and then there's the masculine, the spirits of Allah as well, knows the hearts of everyone. So I try to use wisdom, okay, because there is wisdom as well. There's definitely wisdom, and to know what we are among, you have to be and navigate. You have to be wise. You have to be wise. You have to use the energy of cleverness as well. I realize that I have to be clever. I have to be wise, and it takes time because once again, demonic unclean spirits they know the thoughts. They don't know the thoughts of all high frequency beings, but they know that what's in the heart. They know the law of pretty much the book of law of natural law. They know, but they don't know, and they know the basic of the horn, but they don't know the ins and outs. They don't know the frequency of the high frequency that exists because they have never been there. They can never get there. So they just know that they are supposed to get as many as they can, keep them in a low frequency through different spiritual and mental war tactics, keep them in that jurisdiction. So in that, it is the attack on cosmic laws and planet Earth, the frequency, and that then they can continue to exist. It's sort of, I'm going to use this thought possibly. I have to think about it. No, I'm not going to use it. So I just gave you a couple of examples. So now I'm going to get to more of a present. So when I came to Annapolis, the first thing that I experienced, one of the first experiences I experienced while I was sleeping, or even while I was living in a tent, was black Negro males attacking my genitals. I was living in a tent. This black Negro male was trying to lick my genitals, my vagina. I woke up. I came here. I finally got a room. I was thankful to get the room, and I was happy to sleep. I was so tired. Money still are. Money tired, working all day. And I started to experience my dreams being invaded. Black Negro male attacking my dream, my vagina, making it have an orgasm. The first time, I was so embarrassed. Then after it happened, I would be out. Then this is in a dream, mental. And then I would be out, and black Negro females here in Annapolis, where the United States Navy, Army, military branches, and the police are prevalent, would be looking at me saying, "He F-U-C-K you." He F-U-C-K her. Using sex. Then the word paid start to come up, the frequency or around me on the physical plane. He paid, or in the room or somewhere close by. The frequencies, I started recording the frequency, saying brother paid, hearing the word, the black Negro female saying brother, brother all the time, and saying brother paid, using once again sex. And then in that, they using arrogance, in that ego, and then in that hoping to demonstrate this mental dis-ease. Because if they can get a person to be mentally diseased, then it's more easier for them to wait for the behavior of that person to be such a harm against them, where then they'll have easier access to the mind. So if my dreams are being manipulated forcefully, then they are what? They are entering a sheath of the mind. And they are entering the body sheath while I'm sleeping. So after the first few times, it happened a few times where it was unexpected and I didn't know. But then I started to build up so it happened one time where it looked like a brown skinned male was force engaging. The second time looked like a black male, had a black male energy. He had a black hood over his head. Was trying to put his penis in my vagina. I woke up just like that. Another time was I was sleeping in extended stay America. Well, this was when I was in 116, where out in the across from the room, I used to have the room in 116, and there's a patio, and extended stay America was the employees were out there, and I'm not accusing them, but they were out there because I got up and I started recording after I woke up. And a black Negro male was trying to push his penis in my anus. I woke up just like that. Another time was when then I started to notice the Mongoloid, or that looked be from Mexico, South Central American. I started hearing people start saying that's the Birdman. Then it started to force engage. Mainly while I was awake, the sheath trying to attack my genitals and make my genitals vibrate. So I started to gain. I've been practicing celibacy for over 9 years, over 10 years. I've been practicing. I mean, so let me see. Let me go not go too far back. Yeah, I'm right. I'm truthful about that. So I've been practicing yeah, actually, and when I say over physical celibacy for a while. So what I experienced with Sheik Dwayne Barfield Bay was on the mental sacred mental growth. But physical celibacy I've been practicing for a long time. So I've been able to control my genitals, and I've started to learn myself, learn what was happening, removing that energy of sex or thought as much as possible from my mind. I would start to fast forward, like if I watch movies and they start to get sexual, where they just basic kissing, because that energy. So being among unclean, knowing I'm among unclean abomination spirits that use the energy of sex as their first war tactic. And I'm not doing this for one. I'm doing this to say it's their first war tactic. I learned to fast forward past those things, because if they are attacking me in my dreams, that means the United States government, which is connected to Annapolis government, Maryland state government, have them sitting here stalking the room possibly all day long, waiting to invade that mind, invade not that, but invade my mind, to keep me in a jurisdiction. I'm not saying everyone in Annapolis government. I'm not saying everyone in the Maryland state government, and I'm not saying everyone in the United States government. What I'm saying is, yes, there are too many that are involved. They wouldn't be doing it if they wouldn't be doing it in the open if they weren't involved. They wouldn't be doing it in the open if the United States military, Navy, and Army was not involved, and the police was not involved. So these are forms. So to put a more modern label to what is attempted is sex trafficking. But sex trafficking it has many branches. So when you sex traffic someone, many people think on the physical plane. When they see these children, they talk about children being sex trafficking. They're thinking physical. They're thinking all the horrible things that the child went through for sex trafficking, not grasping how we are among demonic unclean spirits that actually invade the entire body of the child. Not only that, but send forth sharp pains of the child to the child. In the mind, the mind is gone. And then breed it up. So if they sex traffic and the child is released later when it's adult, how many of them are just used as some form of Manchurian candidate? I'll use that thought. Some form of a Manchurian candidate. How many? Some form of a weapon. Recycling the process. And we never know. We don't know what we're looking at. How many if you're not spiritual, how many spirits, unclean spirits, are controlling? How many unclean spirits through the TV, through that portal, is controlling that body? You just see a body working a job and maybe successful, making a lot of money, but not knowing that it's being controlled by unclean, filthy spirits being used through the portal, the TV, and other portals that exist. They look, because they focus. So demons, unclean spirits, they focus a lot. Not saying everyone that does this, a lot on financial success, because they know financial success is once you have the financial success that was created by demonic spirits, that this form of financial success was created by demonic spirits. Most people have the thought process, everything will flow easier. Whatever they lack of, they can obtain because of the financial success. So if they had issues with their health, they should be able to obtain health. If they had issues with debt or money, I mean, debt problems, bills, whatever, medical debt, they should be able to clear that all out because of financial success. Mental problems, they should be able to go see a doctor and stay balanced. So many they demons know that are unclean, filthy, and abomination spirits that are global know that many human beings or celestial with a human soul or those that have the potential to raise their frequency, many human beings focus on financial success before they have the thought process to know to really grasp how we can manifest through health, mentally, spiritually, who we are, all that's supposed to be in the first place. So getting back, so you see a body that's um driving a nice car. Like I spoke of so many blacks here in Annapolis driving nice cars. Not just blacks, but you have those that speak Spanish and have their own business, and you got pale skins too. You have those that from India, Pakistan. You have those from Africa. So you have different. So you have people who seem to be financially balanced bodies, but in the bodies, in the is controlled by a demonic, filthy spirit, demonstrating on that or in that jurisdiction what is supposed to be a normality of success and balance. That is not real. So it has the body and it used the body, the mind, to demonstrate a false reality. The body is full of parasites and worms, demonic spirits that is not that when challenged, you see that which is driving a really, really nice car and have a house behave like an animal, a beast, not civilized. It's like all because it's got you see the body has gone to school, has obtained degrees like the doctors and the nurses, the psychologists, the ones that promoted vaccines and so forth. They have gone to school, they got degrees, and then you see them behave uncivilized when there's a challenge in a thought process. It's the demonic spirits in them because that's a body with the demonic spirits that they have used to demonstrate a false reality. Because see, many people connect success, too many still, the thoughts of success, financial success with mental balance, mental health. And then and then some of them are very clever demonic spirits. You might see some saying that they're spiritualists trying to help humanity and they're financially stable. They're very clever, these unclean demonic spirits that are global. So what I've learned to do is sleep light, and we are still preparing ourselves at night before we go to bed. I'm not saying I would never listen to an R&B song again, but I've definitely once again, I've said this many times, disconnected myself from the R&B music. Music has a frequency. The R&B, most R&B music and other music like it, whether it could be pop or 80s or whatever, that not all music, but too much of it I've noticed when and I can't say this all because many restaurants, many grocery stores play these musics, okay? But I'm just gonna say what I've experienced as a spiritual being. Um, have used music as a portal to force engage the body. So say a song is being played about, for instance, I talked about at Burger King the song Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye being played at Burger King. So and I'm not accusing Burger King. Okay. I don't know if Burger King is spiritual or not. I'm there to work and learn what I need to learn and supposed to learn and navigate and do what they hired me to do, which is to perform customer service in a legal manner as much as possible. And then I go home. Okay. I try to leave my problems that I have, or if I have problems, Allah forbid, I don't have problems. But any challenges that I might be experiencing, I try my best to leave them outside of Burger King and come in there smiling and do my job and stay lawful with wisdom. Okay, I've learned to do that at Burger King. Not be, to be wise and lawful. So the song "Sexual Healing," for instance, in Marvin Gaye, I spoke about it was being played at Burger King. So he's talking about how sex is a healing tool. Okay, so being a woman I am who come from the background of listening to live blues music, jazz music, R&B. I grew up around this music, 80s, so forth, music that considered to be um, let me see, like Phil Collins or pale skin, with some would say pale skin music, or even soft rock, hard rock. I've listened to jazz. I had a variety of music, so I have that background in me. But I didn't know at the time, I wasn't spiritual, so I didn't know the connection to that and how demonic spirits can use the portal of music, the frequency, to induce more sexual activity, whether or if you're drinking, it can uh, use the portal, use the body as a form of violence. I didn't connect, I didn't know, because I wasn't spiritual in that manner, and knowing what I was amongst, I had no idea. So music, R&B music, not the only type, but R&B music that's dealing with sex and so forth, or even just basic words, is the too much of it. I've learned as spiritual, and I'm not accusing. This is just my thoughts. Okay, this is what I'm trying to implement in my area. Okay, when I go to Burger King, they play it. I was just surprised. Recently, I was just so surprised the music changed. Where it's like, you would think that I was listening to music that I listened to, because every single song that they were playing, I never heard them play until recent, that I would listen to them when I was younger, like 20 years old, or blues songs that my father would play at his business, jazz blues songs. See, before Burger King played songs similar to that, but it was a replication of the same song over and over and over again. Okay, so it wasn't such a wide variety of blues songs. I mean, I would think. I mean, trust me, I would know. I'd be like, oh my goodness, they're playing um songs that was in my dad's club. But no, I would have remembered this, and I know that it was a change. So Burger King is under a different company now. It's under Phoenix Foods and a new owner, Brett. So changes happen. So nonetheless, sexual healing, unclean demonic spirit wait for that song to come on and force engage, like it's been doing, whether you know it or not, in your sheath, the black Negro male, or it could be a female getting you prepared so that the black Negro male can also engage. Because That's what they do. The black Negro female that's unclean, unnatural, abomination spirit, or it could be Spanish speaking, whatever, pale skin. But predominantly, I've noticed this with the black Negro beast, the unclean, filthy spirit predominantly has been black Negro females and males getting prepared, getting force engaging sometimes, and then the black Negro male will force engage the body sheath. These are unclean, filthy, abomination spirits. While R&B music is being played. This is the connection to hearing. I used to dedicate songs to Sheik, Dwayne Baffle Bay. So I'm at the time I didn't know they were force engaging. So I'm listening to songs to Sheik, Dwayne Baffle Bay, to you, Sheik, Dwayne Baffle Bay, and I would hear a black Negro female keep saying brother over and over again, brother, 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 like it was trying to program, because it was probably force engaging. The black Negro unclean spirit male was trying to force engage, but my thoughts and my energy was towards you. So if it can continue, so it was trying to do the next level of mental programming, mental invasion, to try to switch the energy field. Remember, these are demonic spirits. They don't care. They're filthy. They're unclean. It's a beast. They're infected. They don't care. Their goal is to take over the mind, the body, like they have done globally for over hundreds and hundreds of years. So the female saying brother, so I talked to the managers at extended staff, like I'm hearing someone saying brother like over and over again as I'm listening to music. And the manager listened, because I also demonstrated that like I was hearing black Negro males and females predominantly say brother paid or money, emphasizing the word money. The black Negro female knocked on my door hard, loud one morning or early one day around 7 or 6 in the morning, and saying money loud. That was a demonic spirit. And so I guess at the time they had a camera and they saw her, and the rep, her name was Kathy, agreed and said she had left. She, by her saying that person left, she recognized what I said was true. Before I even told her, she recognized what I said was true, that she was knocking on the door saying money. I was in room 116 at the time. It was Extended Stay America, not Admiral Suites. So when a celestial being, human being, that which are striving to maintain high frequency of natural, divine, and cosmic laws, focus on allowing the spirit of truth, deciding to step to the spirit of truth in humility, the spirit of truth will reveal herself. And she will reveal herself and show her power and the energy that's really in control. This is a jurisdiction. For me to recognize this is demonstrating the jurisdiction spiritually I am in. With the spirit of truth, there's justice. So once we as high frequency beings continue to focus and learn how to embrace and harmonize in a high frequency of natural, divine, and cosmic laws, justice takes over. And that's what's going on right now. That horn has sounded. Justice. Hold on, I'm trying to think if I want to use a what. Not it's not using a thought. It's actually a thought. Well, it would be using a thought. I would be deciding how I'm going to use it. But I was gonna I had the thought before anyway because I needed to speak about it. Spirit of Noble Juali. When I was in the Sacred Mental Growth, I never slept with anyone else. Never, ever, ever. I never slept with anyone else in the Sacred Mental Growth besides Sheik Dwayne Baffolet. We engaged. We did blood bonding. If he says it happened only twice, he's lying. I know he's lying. And I'm going to say it. You're lying, Sheik Dwayne Baffolet. I know you are. Now, why you lying, I don't know all the aspects, but I know you're lying because you demonstrate you lying too many times. So by Sheik Dwayne Baffolet and I being the first, according to his words, to have bonded and obligated in that manner. And whatever, like there was a ring, if I don't know what I'm among, if I'm not aware of the witchcraft that can be done, if I'm not aware of the mental invasions, if I'm among chaos and don't even know what the chaos is and how it's manipulating me, I'm not accountable for that ring. But I am accountable for truth. And I'm not saying this, Sheik Dwayne Baffolet, because I want you in my life the next lifetime. I'm not saying that. No. I'm saying it because I'm demonstrating truth. Because I loved you in purity and with every aspect of my purity through life, through this path, even when that which were Moors, sheiks, were demonstrating an extremely lower self energy that only demonic unclean spirits would be able to demonstrate. Whether it's dealing with impersonation of you and it's saying that you were involved in sharing, or whether it was allowing what I experienced here, where they could have stepped in at any moment and said, you wage war on us, because they know truth. If they are knowledgeable, they know truth. They know the war that has been waged upon natural law for a long time. And whether it was that, if they wanted to, could have stepped in and even if they didn't want to step in and allow me to strengthen, whatever reason they may say, but to be a part of any form of indulging or happiness or feeling not just sheiks but sheikesses or enjoyment that they see me experiencing, or anyone connected to me experiencing a form of dis-ease, or is not just me but remembering many globally have been afflicted with these unclean unnatural spirits. That is a demonic spirit, unclean spirit of the lower self. Very unclean, demonic, of the lower self. Male or female, sheik or sheikesses. That's unclean. And I think, I'm going to say this in truth, I think in humility, I'm saying in humility, I think the spirit of Noble Jew Ali is in me in humility, and other divinities around him, or that is with him, is helping me through this path, this journey. And I think they have been watching and observing for a very, very long time. hearing the word share, or they shared, or whatever, when I first realized what, I was so, when I first realized what was really happening, or what was really being said, and how it was being said, and how the witchcraft was being done, at first I didn't. At first I was still under, I want to say, the spell of just loving Sheep Dwayne Buffalo Bay, and I just wanted to rise above it. But then the Spirit of Truth, she just, and I mean, I just kept writing about what was in this book, which, and I kept reading it too. She just kept woof, woof, woof. I mean, she was just throwing it at me. Just the Spirit of Truth was just throwing it at me, and I had to accept it manfully. I had to accept what she was saying manfully, because I asked in humility, and she felt like I was um worthy of her. So when I would hear sheiks and sheikesses start using the word share, and then I'm not saying that they were talking about me, but then the plotted thoughts of that which is around me was saying that's what happened. They shared you. So remembering that demonic spirits are unclean, and they are always, I've noticed, always around, and that, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali has already prophesied there were going to be some very wicked Moors, some very wicked Moors during these days and times. So wicked Moors is implying that there's some unclean demonic spirit. Wicked is connected to unclean demonic spirits. And just because you say more doesn't exclude women, especially in our nation where women control a lot of what's going on. Women control a lot of what's going on. They have a set, the Moorish stars, the sheiks and sheikesses. So when Prophet Noble Drew Ali prophesied this, and it kept coming back to me over and over and over again, caveat emptor, I was like, and then I was hearing experiencing so much mentally, and listening and trying to decipher. So when I'm going to say this, what I'm going to say right now is say imagine. Sheep Dwayne Buffalo Bay, because I know there's, and I don't know for sure if you're still with her or not, but the other lady who they call Mariana, I think it's her. I don't know if it's her for real. I'm not sure. So say there's someone else, because that means she too knew and has known truth about what's been going on for a long time. Okay, for a very, very, so I'm the one that didn't know on this lifetime. I'm the one that the truth had. I had to humble myself to embrace truth, because by me doing that, truth expanded my knowledge of not just one aspect of unclean demonic spirits and wickedness, but many aspects of unclean demonic spirits and wickedness. So I remember how when I started this journey, because I awoke and I experienced what I experienced with Imani Gray Bay and Abbas Malik Bay. And I was with the Washita Moors. Okay. And I was trying my best to demonstrate impurity of what I was experiencing, which at the time was Dr. Aleem El Bay and Kadira El Bay. I can only assume, but I don't know. Imagine that they knew. Say imagine they knew as Reiki teachers. Imagine, I don't know, but imagine they knew how demonic and unclean the spirits were. Imagine they had the telepathic code. Imagine they knew how the so-called black Negro, the brother, used the radio and TV, and the TV was able to force engage the body, the mind. Imagine that. Imagine Sheik Dwayne Bafubé. I'm imagining that you knew. And that when you saw me and you felt me, you had a change. But it was too late because of what the decisions you have made before you met me. But still, it was a decision you made. And you've had time. You had a lot of time. A lot of time, Sheik Dwayne Bafubé, to demonstrate yourself manfully. Capital M, capital A, capital N. A lot of time. Even with the witchcraft and spells that could be done upon you through sex, sexual rituals, through any other form of witchcraft and spell, any other binding. Because when the spirits of the higher self starts to speak, and you don't know why, but you just, something in you just keep telling you, you just can't do what you want to do, or you feel like you want to do, but you just can't do it. That's time. You want to ask forgiveness. You want to compensate, but you know, but you keep hearing these words. I'm not saying compensate me. No, that even though I experienced thought, I know we were in the mental growth. I know what would happen. I know the truth. I know the sequence of events. I know the demonstration of a sequence of events that implied that the sheiks and sheikesses came together to encourage some form of harm in a ritual manner. I know that's implied. But imagine that they have the telepathic code, and that too many of them have collaborated with unclean, unnatural spirits. So I'm imagining Sheik Dwayne Bafubé. And so in that, they know, imagining all the unclean spirits for hundreds of years that have caused much ritual bloodshed upon planet Earth. So, Sheik Dwayne Bafubé, what I'm saying is, you hear, and I'm telling you, is I uphold my vows because I am demonstrating truth. I'm not upholding my vows because I want to be your wife in the next lifetime or even know you. I'm being honest because I'm not sure. I'm being wise. I'm being very, very wise. I uphold my vows because I demonstrate truth. I know that I have the authority to say whoever you have sex with, if you have signed the dotted line, it's null and void. I know I have that authority between you and I this lifetime. Because I never agreed. And I was actually manipulated, and imagine that, because I did not know. Lack of knowledge of the priestess and the status of who I am, just by obligating to you in this sacred mental grove. It takes a real unclean demonic thoughts to even want ambition or harm someone, knowing all the wickedness and bloodshed that has taken place through centuries and still to this day. For those that have the power or been given power of law to demonstrate such harm. Imagine. And I'll leave it at that. Because many times these thoughts are replicated of me being in the sacred grove and you not being there, and a black Negro was allowed to impersonate himself, or sheiks were allowed to impersonate themselves, um, so when we connected, so that I connect with them in a sexual manner, many times, which is all demonic, all unclean, no different from what's been going on. Many times that has no status. That is a form of what has been going on for over 100, 200 years. That's what that demonstrates. That does not demonstrate truth, and it does not demonstrate status. And so once again, in the spirit of spirituality and truth, and I'm not saying this in ego, I'm going to make sure I keep my energy feel balanced and in humility. I have the status of who I am because I obligated to you and you did to me through your words. I was the first. Whether you have a child or impregnated someone else, whatever, I don't know. But through your words, I was the first. And I have that status and authority to say any ties with that which you have done is null and void this lifetime. And I'm only saying it this lifetime because I'm in the spirit of truth. And I have always been in the spirit of purity with you. Even when I wasn't within myself or knowing myself or who I am, I had no idea. I had no idea this lifetime of on the conscious level of what I was among. Even though spiritually in my there, the sacred Allah, the hidden Allah knew. And now here is justice talking to you. Justice. Islam.